Hi, I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101. And this message is for Paul. Paul has given me very little to work with, and so I'm going to make this mostly an introductory video. One of the reasons, Paul, I ask people to ask me for things and offer free counseling is so that I can do something good with what I have. I want to do something with what I have to offer. And when you give me some generic details and I don't talk about your name or your location or any specifics, what it helps me to do is speak to actual concerns that people that write in have. And I make a generic video and I put it up so that others can also benefit from the thoughts contained within. Because what I do is conscious counseling. What I do is I talk about higher level, heightened conscious thought processes that we should all have. And I try to help people to find out how to get to that place. And so really the subject matter is not important, but it is important. It's important to show that no matter what someone talks to me about, I can talk back with them in a way that shows them how they could use tools that I try to show them how to work with to solve whatever kind of problems and to address whatever kind of concerns they may have. So, Paul, all I'm trying to do is keep it free and no cost by allowing enough of myself to go around. And the way I do that is you write in an email and you tell me what your concerns are, what you'd like to talk to me about. Give me whatever amount of detail you feel comfortable with, and I will respond. And if you get something out of that, great. I try to put as much as I can in every video so that you don't have to keep going down this long line with me and feeling like, oh, he's holding something back or he's trying to get somebody to pay for something. No, I'm just generally trying to help. And one of the ways that I try to help is to get real people. I mean, I've got a lot of videos that talk about issues and ideas and my own concerns and my own point of view of what I think is important. But I like to be challenged. I like to show people that I can talk about anything that comes. And this is why I actually ask for open calls. So, Paul, you haven't given me much to go on. What I'll do is I'll just read what little you've written, and I'll talk about that, and I'll go along and tell you about what I do and how I do it as I'm talking about it. Paul writes, I have a concern that the only activity that truly puts me at ease is sex. That's when I forget the past and the future. Also, I have a concern that thinking I'm a part of a group is evidently not true no matter how much I try. Oh, I just don't understand what that means. I'd like to talk to you more. Also, you say, if you listen, I'll talk. And I've asked you to write it in the email, and I could do a more detailed video here, but you did not want to do that at this point. You say that what you'd like is a little feedback, okay? You have a sexual situation that happened just the other day, and you really like to talk about it. I'd be glad to talk to you about it, but you haven't given me anything to give feedback on, other than you feel comfortable and at ease. So, this will be more of an introductory video just to show you that I'm a genuine person. I'm really there. I'm really going to respond. I'm really going to give it my all. This is what I do. It's one of the things that I do. I don't charge for it. I do other work in my life that allows me to have free time to dedicate to this, to people that would really have a concern that would really help them if there's some way I could help them to see it in a different way, help them to see how they can use perspective counseling to better think about whatever it is that comes into their lives and filter it as it goes in, process it, and put it in various storage devices so that it's useful to you and it doesn't become a part of false notions that may be piling up or extra baggage you don't know what to do with, and it doesn't become just something that's so much you can't handle it. And a lot of people's problems and vices and just feeling lost and overpowered by society comes from their inability to organize their input and what they hold on to and how they process ideas and how they use their consciousness as a tool. And so I call this Conscious Counseling 101 because what I try to do is I help people develop skills that I have very sharply developed for myself so they can have that tool and take it away with them free and use it for their own personal purposes. Now, I'll talk to those personal purposes to show you how I use it, just to demonstrate that the tools are real and they work, but the idea is to transfer it to you so that you can use it. And if I never talk to you again, the idea is that you can take it and go with whatever you want. But let's talk with whatever I can with just about what you've given me. Okay. I'm not an Ernest Hemingway reader, but I watch movies. I'm very audibly and visually sensitive. And one of my favorite movies is a Woody Allen movie, and it's called Midnight in Paris. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's characters in there from the past. Ernest Hemingway's one of them, and he talks about basically kind of what you're saying, that's the only time you feel free and at ease, and then you have to do it again in order to feel that way. He's written about those things, and of course we all know who Ernest Hemingway is. I spent 3 or 4 months of my life, I was the art director for the television show Key West in the early 90s, and of course his house is there on Key West. And he wrote about these things, and one of the characters in this Woody Allen film talks about this, how it's so important to have that connection. I don't know if it's to a guy or a girl or just mutual gratification that you're talking about. I don't know what that is that you're talking about. You haven't given me enough. But it puts you at ease like nothing else. Well, I'm glad that you're not into drugs and other things like that. Something natural like that is probably better for you ultimately than anything artificial. I'd like to suggest that our minds are filled with information and electrical signals and chemicals, and the nuances of how those things go together are controllable by us. And perspective counseling can help us to manage our depression, manage the way we think, manage how our mind functions, how we process information, how we generally feel and guide our lives on a regular basis. It's all under the category of conscious counseling. What a sexual interchange like this can give you is a disruption of the natural biorhythms that are going on in your life and your mind and your mentality. And just for a moment, you have, just a euphoria, and it shuts off. So if the euphoria isn't that important for you, what matters is that you're shutting off all the white noise that's in your mentality, in your mind, in your consciousness. And for a moment, I think you get more out of the fact that you're just shutting off all the crap for a second. Well, what if I told you that you can't really shut off the crap with conscious counseling, but you can learn how to think and manage the crap? That's what I try to do. I try to know that whatever it is that I'm working with is a solid idea. And I analyze where it came from, how I came to that idea. I take it from the pool of ideas available to mankind. Ideas never die. But in that huge pool of ideas that mankind has, all kinds of false notions, wives' tales, extraneous type of crazy belief systems that come from everywhere since the dawn of time. And how are we supposed to find a way to guide ourselves with all the different religions and all the different people in our lives that tell us this and tell us that, and people that are trying to sell us things, and politicians that are trying to get us to vote for them? How are we supposed to figure out what is valuable and manage that pool? I'm not saying that my life is a joy and a dream and that I have euphoria like you'd like to have. No, quite the contrary. I have heavy burdens on my shoulders, but they're solid burdens that I'm managing and handling on my own. And I know why and how. And I'm constantly striving to analyze everything that goes on in the world and become something that can really do this with flair and solidity, built on real analyzation of the pool of ideas and all the things that are in there. And I can take and rise up from that a vehicle for my consciousness that is more guiding and trustworthy than anything else I can get from any other source. And I can help you to start to trust yourself as you become finely honed and work on your consciousness and deal with all these things. What I can offer you is a way to believe you, yourself, above anybody else, including myself. Because I have this. I've developed this. I know that I can trust myself and the workings that I do more than anything else, more than any book, more than any person that's ever lived. And you can do this too. I would like to empower you to have a heightened conscious mind and mentality, and believe in yourself and have self-value to the extent that you know that you're the greatest gift to yourself. And with that, make that your main thing you do every day. No matter what your career is, no matter how you currently live and operate, if that is your central focus, what will happen is your life will begin to change. It will begin to be managed better and understood better. And all things will be able to offer all the good things that they can offer to you, and you'll be able to push out and throw out the bad things. That's the important thing. The definition of heightened intelligence is for a person to be able to consider all things and examine them and not feel like they have to incorporate them in their life or get too bogged down by all this junk and not be able to sort through it, but examine them and be able to make a very strong and solid distinguishing choice with each thing, whether there's any worth to that, or there's any validity, not only for you, but for mankind, for everything that's important, or whether it's wasteful and wrong and needs to be seen for what it is and thrown out. A spade call a spade. And to find a gem in there and pluck that out and start making a collection for yourself. What you need to do is you need to start figuring out, well, what is my source that tells me whether something's a gem or something's just a momentary joy or something's just a total falsehood that needs to be thrown out? How do I find that pillar of strength in me? Where's that ray of light going to shine from? You know, that's my little picture of the ray of light shining through the trees. It's cliche, but it's true, because what we need is to have something that we can rely on, that the ray of light comes shining down, and we can trust it. We can work with it. For some, it might be a description of what God is. For some, it might be your inner essence that tells you the truth, and you have to fight off all the false sayers in the world. For some, it might be like a nondescript sense of the universe, or for some really way out there thinkers, new age thinkers, it might be like something that we can't even put our fingers on and it just feels good and whatever. But it's all real because it actually works, and for us to trust this is what counts the most. Why are you getting joy out of what you're getting joy out of? Well, in a sense, it was meant to be that way probably, but there's an interrupt. There's a disjointed detachment for a moment. And I think it goes to showing us how white can be and how black could be. And in our conscious growth, there's a lot of grays. But for one moment in time, there's something that happens that makes us more alive, more electrified. And then we want to do that again, because we can't make it happen by ourselves. But I'm telling you, we can learn how to be much more aware of making thoughts mean more and have a lot more happen for ourselves than your typical person does that doesn't work with heightened conscious. Here at Conscious Counseling 101, that's what I attempt to do. Now, if you'll give me some more information, I'll talk to you about specifics. But I keep this generic and out there so people can look at this and they can gain benefit. And I can help others. And that's why there's no cost involved, because by helping you, I'm actually able to help others. That's why there's no cost involved, because I want to do this. I want to volunteer and take my time to do this. I've been doing this for 20 years or more, and this is what I do. So please, if you want no-cost counseling, free, just tell me what it is you want me to talk about, and I will. I'll be glad to give up my time and address your concerns in very much more detail than this all over the place abstract rambling video. Okay? But I'm Paul Roberts. This is Conscious Counseling 101. Give me a shot. I am here to do whatever I can. The best that I can. And that's more than a lot of people are doing. So geez, how much more do I have to do to make you see that I'm real and genuine? All right? Hope to talk to you soon.